If you actually want to build a network that feels authentic and real to you and not kind of cringy and fake and like weird, this is for you. I completely understand how weird the thought of networking can be, but I have a few strategies and tips that have helped me to build a better professional network, and hopefully these can help you also. My name is Amaya. I help people to build community. I've done it from corporate offices to college campuses and in between. So hopefully these tips can help you to get to where you want to be. The job market's a little tough now, to say the least. There are Harvard M.B.A.s who are having a hard time finding jobs 3 months out of school. Like people with masters from like the #1 master's program in the country, maybe the world. That's hard. I know people who I graduated with who are having a hard time finding a job. I know somebody who like graduated a year ago from undergrad and they haven't found one in their field yet. That's okay. But what really matters is who you know, which is kind of a cliche, but the question therein lies, is how do you know people who can actually help you? I guess especially when you are young professional. And this is a great question. So here's a few tips. 1, to figure out what you need, because that's the first step. 2, to figure out where to find what you need. Okay, first up, figuring out what you need. So when we say networking, I want you to think of networking not as in like trying to connect with some people because you're like, can this person get me a job? I want you to think about it as you building a relationship with people, real relationships with people, because that is what you are doing. You wouldn't want somebody in 10, 15 years to only want to engage with you because they think you can get them somewhere. That's like not a good feeling. And it's also not a good reason. That's not going to sustain a relationship, whatever tier of relationship you're getting to. So think of it as building a relationship and think of, what can I learn from this person? Say you're looking at somebody on LinkedIn and you're like, wow, like I'd really love to get in contact with this person. Okay, cool, slay. But after you get in touch with them, what are you gonna say? You're not gonna say, okay, can you give me a job at your company? You're gonna say, can I ask you a few questions? There it is. When you want to ask people questions, when you are curious about what they know, when you want to learn from them, and that's when you're going to be in the best spot, the best position to connect with that person, is because you are learning something from them. Tip number 2 is the best time to build your network is when you do not need it. Okay. If you are already job hunting, if you are relatively new out of college, that is the final hour. Do not let yourself get to the place where you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do, right? If you're watching this video and you're not at that place yet, don't let yourself get to that place. Say yes to the happy hours your junior year, your sophomore year. Say yes to the happy hours 2 months after you get your job. Go to them, okay? And we'll circle back to that piece, but don't wait until you need it. Okay. Show up consistently, plant your seeds, and you will reap the harvest that you are looking for in due time. And tip 3, all in this figuring out what you need, is make sure you are getting your reps in. Okay. So whenever you complete these next steps that I will give you, or whenever you start working on these next steps, it's going to get a lot more comfortable. And I know you hear this for everything, but it is true. You will get a lot better at it. It'll be a lot more comfortable once you've gotten some reps under your belt. Finish your workout, do your reps. That's it. That's all. Okay. A quote from the Introvert's Edge, a book guide to networking, says, long-term consistency trumps short-term intensity. So if you are consistent, if you're getting your reps in, if you're doing it before you need to do it, the payoff will be grand. The next tip in the actual tactics category is to use the internet strategically. And I assume that you know how to do that, seeing that you're here. But I think this falls into 2 buckets, which is connecting with people directly and finding avenues to connect with people directly. And what that looks like in earnest when it comes to connecting with people directly is, do not be afraid to send an email. Seriously, send an email, send a DM, comment on people's posts when you appreciate their work and what they do and what they're working on. And I think what this can look like is, again, not out the gate. Don't like immediately come out the gate. When I say asking for things, I mean like, don't be like, hey, like, I want this job. You know, I've done things like that before, right? And that's not the best tactic. What you can do is be like, hey, I really appreciate your work. I think that you're like somebody that I can learn from. Would you mind talking to me for 15 minutes or 30 minutes, or like answering a few questions, or even adding some value, right? Saying, hey, like, I love this thing that you talked about. This is something that I've been working on that you might find helpful, or this is something that I found that you might find helpful. Show yourself as being valuable upfront. I will say the existential nature of life and the fact that everything's on fire just hit me. So how much does any of this matter? But that's besides the point. For now, it matters. So try to offer some level of value when you're coming in, and don't feel like you're being a burden on people, because you're not. I would also say a lot of people don't reach out. So you might think, oh, everybody's reaching out. I guarantee you a lot of people are not. This is a very anxious society. So you're not going to get things if you don't ask for them, which is why I'm asking you to like, comment, and subscribe. I thought that was good. I don't know. I mean, if you're feeling it, if you're into it, I mean, it'll be very helpful for me. I love your work. So just putting that out there. But yeah, you don't get what you don't ask for. Usually. Sometimes people just give you things. Usually you don't get what you don't ask for. Okay, my next piece of using the internet strategically is to find ways to connect with people outside of the internet, because in earnest, the best connections you're going to make with people are going to be connections that you make with people offline. Honestly, like, that's just how that's how living in a society and being a human works. So with that said, I'm going to put this out there. Skip the networking events. If an event is named networking, you're probably not going to get that much value out of it, because a lot of the people there are probably either going to be like salespeople, which we love salespeople. There's nothing wrong with a salesperson. That's just not what you need right now. Or people who are in the 11th hour, okay? And if you're there, you probably can't help each other very much. So what I am going to give you a tidbit about is you can go on Eventbrite. Eventbrite has things like this. But I would recommend, say you are in tech and you live in DC or New York. There are a lot of these newer kind of startup-y newsletters and like tip sheets, which is what we call them, like Politico, Semaphore, Punch Bowl, different things like that, who will have their own events that you can attend, and it'll be on different topics. Like, say, like a couple of weeks ago, one of my clients had a happy hour. It was like a happy hour reception thing, great hotel, not too far from my apartment, awesome chef, great drinks, and it was for their members who are small business owners in the tech space. So who showed up? The people who worked in or interested in small business and people who work in the tech space. And if that's what you're interested in, you should go to things like that, especially in DC. Again, I know DC, so I can speak to DC, but in DC, most of these events have to be open to everybody because of the rules in Congress. So you're not gonna look crazy if you're there. Go to the bar, get a drink, get a sparkling water with lime is my house specialty, okay? It has bubbles in it. It looks like a drink, so people aren't like, why aren't you drinking? Which most normal people are not like that, but there are some unnormal people in the world. And you chat. You say, hey, like, honestly, a great segue is, I love your earrings. I mean, like, you could say, honestly, you could say that to a man and he'd probably think it was hilarious. And now you're like knee deep in a conversation about like the tax code or whatever you want to talk about. So let yourself like explore different events that are specific to what you're interested in, because other people who are interested in and who are in that industry are going to be there, simply put. Okay, my last two pieces here are let yourself prepare. So say if you're going to one of these events that I just mentioned, do a little reading on, say, the organization that's throwing it before. Browse the current event section of the newspaper. Make sure you know a few things that you can like talk to before you go in. It'll help you feel a lot more comfortable and confident going into the situation, because you're not just going there for the sake of being there. You have an intention and you're bringing that into the conversation. And remember that other people love to connect to. Like, even if you are more junior, somebody who's senior, they need smart junior people in their corner. They need people who are, say, good at research or a good junior engineer. So you are bringing value to them too. Don't think that just because you are younger, you don't have anything of value to provide, because if you didn't, they would not be investing in you in any sense. And we do invest in young people, because to be fair, young people will one day be the old people who folks are trying to network with at happy hours. So you have value, people want to connect with you. And if you found this helpful at all, or if you didn't notice that I still had the plastic on my microphone for most of this video, feel free, give it a like, give it a comment, ask me any of the questions that you may have left over, and I will answer them as best as I can. Or if there's other people who have tips, they will answer them. If you're trying to build your personal network, your crew, your real support system, I have other videos that go into how to build community, how to make friends, things like that, especially when you're moving to a new city. I know this is such a transitional time. I love to help. I'd love to answer any questions you have, and see you in the next video. Bye.